Your goal for the fly is for your arm to go from here all the way to here. There's a lot of like gain left on the table when we get to here and not to here. You see how much difference that is? But see the muscling, like that is not necessary. Like especially when it comes to like accessory work. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're coaching up LeanBeefPatty in her upper push day. It's called I Nearly Died. Discipline or balance. Let's jump into it. All right, guys, so just to make things clear, my job is to, call out some of the things that she's doing, not so optimally or wrong, so you guys can avoid those things and things that she could probably, hopefully she's watching this, and you can see some things that she can do as well too. But I'm definitely gonna call out the good things she's doing as well. So, because a lot of you guys are watching this video and you're probably like, hey, a lot of you guys are LeanBeefPatty fans. She's wicked. But again, we want to make sure we're doing things as optimal as possible. And with my background, guys, I'm gonna give you all the good, juicy stuff to help you guys build muscle. So let's get into it. Alright, she got them stretching. Wait, always gonna move around, guys. Moving around is good.
Getting started on the meat of the workout.
So yeah, flat bench, we're on a fat pad powerlifting bench. That is why you have the pad there, guys. It's a powerlifting bench that gives you more cushion. It's thicker, so it has more surface area for you, so it's a better base for leverage when you're pressing. So if you're ever wondering why there's a pad that fat, that's why. But again, new equipment, she's not used to it. Doing warm-up sets is going through the motion of what you're actually doing during your set.
Honestly, the benching today isn't anything too crazy. I think it's like 4 sets of 5 or something. Let me look. 4 sets of 5 at 7 RPE. That's really not gonna be anything to write home about.
Okay, so we're definitely doing a strength block mesos of some sort, but let's make things clear. Most people that are watching this, most people's goals is to build muscles, more of aesthetics than anything else. So if that's the case, doing sets of, 4 to 5 sets of 5 reps, yes, it's gonna elicit muscle growth, but the load you'll be using should be heavier, should be more so around 85% and more to your run back max. That's more so strength. And again, like, it's totally fine to train that way. Completely fine to train that way as long as you have intention to do it and understanding that that's gonna be more for strength. But again, if you're doing like 4 sets of 5 reps and you should be doing a heavier load. Now, she's only doing 7 RP, so her load's not gonna be as heavy. 7 being, right, like 70% of it being a all-out massive failure set. Basically 10 being, I can't move this thing, someone's gotta peel this thing off my chest. And right now she's by herself.
Literally like 0 leg drive because I can't touch the ground.
All right, I'm gonna stop it right there. Guys, we're gonna get in this, guys, but listen, I said this before many times. Your setup is gonna be a massive indicator of how well you perform your set. So she's at a gym, I know she's been to the gym before, but she's on a new bench. She already knows that her legs are hitting the ground. Rectify the situation right away. There's no point of just not fixing it. It's like, well, her feet don't match. Her feet can't touch the ground. Her feet are close enough. Go with some fat plates or a plate or whatever you have there to put on your feet so you have the drive you need so you can perform the way you need to. And for Pete's sake, put the collars on. Just put the collar. I know, guys, but you can, if you ever get pinned, you can drop it to the side. And I'm gonna be like, why would you want to do that? That's what I say. Then you'd be like, there's no one in the gym anyway. And it's like, but she's got racks, safety racks there. What, like, you're not gonna be even. Here's the reason why, guys. It's not because you're gonna pin yourself and you can't get off. It's because most of the time, especially if you're using like metal plates, like steel plates, on like a good bar. No, like most people, they do push pretty even, but like some people are beginners and it doesn't matter. Some people aren't nor advanced, and sometimes you pressing you a little bit off. You come to those hard reps and sometimes one arm might lead more than the other, and guess what happens? That's why, right? So they stay on the secure. That's it. Nice. Very good. Actually, like very good. Like for what she's doing in terms of like, obviously she's doing more of like a power style of pressing. Like the way she's benching is a powerlifting style of bench. right? The way, using more hip drive, lowering it down a little lower to your stomach, that's more for powerlifting. Her range of motion is where it needs to be because it's touching her chest. Those are good things to do. But again, maybe she's not caring to make her chest bigger, but nice. Very good. Good control on the way down. Great pause. Great
Feeling
control.
Extremely not strong today. Feeling, some might say, even a bit weak.
I understand, not every day you're going to have your best day, but if, there's some things you need to take into account. If you have, one of these kind of comments or situation in the gym, you're like, man, I feel weak. And at the beginning of your set, number one, you're probably just not accumulated yet. You're not really accumulated. You're not adjusted to the surrounding yet. So you could be just in a different environment itself can make things, feel a little off. If you're feeling actually weak too, you got to think about how was your sleep the night before? Are you well rested? Are you well nourished in terms of have you ate the day, properly? Have you eaten properly at all? And that day, are you training at a time of the day where you're not used to? Or sometimes for the basic, most people sometimes train at a time where they just have to train that time. It's not optimal for them in terms of the timing. So if you get stuck in a situation, you just do your best and then perform as best as you can. But remember, your form, your range of motion, and your effort is always going to stay the same, period.
Reuse somebody's
She put a 45 on, she's strong.
weights. Reduce, reuse, recycle.
You hear that nice, that's sliding on there. It's a nice, good, nice. Very good. Very, very good. Good control. These are all great things to talk about. Just looking at her range of motion on the way down, obviously it's very consistent. The style of pressing that she's doing is very consistent. Say when we talk about controlled rep, I wouldn't call this it used to be a 1 second negative or whatever, right? Regardless of it, it's very good. It's very controlled. It's very consistent. Her form is on point. Now again, going back to the beginning, could she have raised her heels up a little bit, put something underneath the heels so she could perform better? Could her lift not feel as good before because of her setup? So just make sure you do your setup properly. All right, now we're up. Okay, so those look like 10s? Those 10s? 15. I'm so curious. Regardless. Good again. Great.
That was lemon squeezy.
Lemon squeezy, right? And sometimes, going back to the beginning, you might just have started off just a little bit off. She's warming up more. She's getting more warm as she goes. She's not doing very high reps in terms of her warm-up, so she's really getting her body accustomed to, lifting her 5 full sets of, her 4 sets of 5 reps at 7% at 7 RPE. So this is very good.
I honestly don't usually bother to do the math. I just put the weights on and see if I can lift it. So for this one, I think I've only ever done 4, but we're gonna try for 5 today.
Okay, let's go.
I mean, I know she's probably just saying that, but if you want to actually get stronger and properly track your progress, those metrics are important, right? You should have some type of a log or anything showing that you're either getting stronger by a rep or weight on a week-to-week basis. And that's very doable. Again, we have to make the emphasis not on always it being weight. It can be a rep. She could be doing, again, she's doing 4 sets of 5 reps.
Oh my God.
Breathing's great. Very good breathing. But again, if we want to really knock this out of the park, we want to record your data. Record your data, basically, right? So you can have those metrics and you know what progress you're making on a week to week. Now, watching her as she's getting heavier. Now, again, when I am looking at progress, she's doing great. Don't get me wrong, she's doing great. Safety rack's there, so she's good if she bails out anyway. She's good, right? She can do all the things she needs. She's in a smart, safe position. I'd love for her to have, some collars on her, but, from the bottom, her feet are just kind of going away a little bit because the bench is too high. If she had a little bit of you know, a lift under her feet, maybe a riser or whatever, she could have put her foot back a little further. And that would help keep her basically right on her butt. And then that would actually help her not have her butt lift off the bench, because when your butt lifts off the bench like that, you lose leverage, right? The reason why you have your feet under your hips is to basically stretch your back out so it locks your body literally on the bench, and it becomes this really great tool for leverage. So when you're doing your hip drive, you're driving your hip off you're not driving your hip off the bench, you're driving your hip and using that tension on the ground to your hips while your butt's on the bench to be able to help drive the weight up. When you pop the butt off the bench, you might give it a little extra like push going up, but you're losing some of that leverage or drive power you have when your back comes off the bench. So had her feet been under a little bit more by having some, you know, a riser there or a plate, she would have easily smashed this weight up. Like, great grinder set. Like, don't get me wrong. This is great. This is phenomenal, right? This is impressive as hell. Breathing's great. Boom, right? See how much the back came off the bench? And she's got another set to do. Like another one more rep, and then it's... Right? So very good. Now, again, the obvious thing to what happens is you put unnecessary stress on your lower back as well, too. Right? Obviously, being in a hyper-extended position like that isn't going to your back anyway, but when your feet are on the ground, tucked underneath your butt, like properly, you don't create that much more of an arc when your butt comes off the bench while you have a bunch of weight push you down the opposite way, right? All great things other than that. But that's me to begin with. When I coach my athletes, I don't let that slip. Like, for me, it's like, we're going to rectify that. Like, right away, that's not even going to happen. So when I see these things here, this is exactly, if I was in place with Lean right now, we're sitting there like, yo, Lean, let's go to the gym, we're going to do some, whatever. We're going to do your program. And I was sitting there watching her. If we were clapping in real life, I'd be like, hey, before we start, before we get the plate on there or anything, let's do our warm set. Find some plates. There's some plates next to you over there. There's 2 plates over there we can put there. No one's in the gym. You're fine. We could do that. It would take maybe 5 minutes, not even to set that up. Nonetheless, absolutely amazing. Hey guys, I want to thank Blue Star Nutraceuticals for sponsoring this channel and giving me the ability to give you guys quality content and information. So do your boy a favor and support my channel by using my code Johnny10 at bluestarnutraceuticals.com and pick yourself up some PPK, AminoFast, Createch, and Roughage. Okay, back to the show. All right, now we can see it even more here, right? Her back's already arched. Good, better here, but right, she loses a little bit. But great, look at her back, where her back is. Shoulder blades on the bench, like, this is phenomenal. Like, this is absolutely really good body positioning here, despite heels not being up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? What I said before. Anyway, right? That's where we lose a little bit of leverage, is doing that right there. Right? See, when the weight gets up and she's driving the weight up, because her hips are off the bench, she's losing that leverage from being able to have her butt on the bench to be able to continue to drive weight up. Because remember, guys, I give you that cue to pretend that you're pushing yourself into the ground, not the weight off your chest. That's the cue you want. That's going to give you that much more leverage or press or power when you're pushing up. So when your butt comes off the bench, you're kind of sitting in midair like, oh, you have no leverage from the biggest part of your body, which is your butt right there, right? Your center of mass right here. Anyway. And we have one more rep. Boom. Right? Oh, good grind, good grind. Great grind. Right? Now, let me just remember something, guys. She's safe because she has the racks right there. Her hands are on it. So she's good. Even if there's no one in the gym at all, period. So even if the plates fall off, the bar, she's good anyway, right? But she already gave herself a fair warning earlier that there were sketchy reps. That was more than an RP or whatever, right? Now right here, she's safe because she gets through the rep, gets through the set, absolutely great grind. But that's also a point there where she could have hurt herself, for nothing, because she's not a powerlifter. I don't know if she's doing any powerlifting meets or getting paid for powerlifting, but my back's pulled, I can't do anything for the next whatever. You're a YouTuber. I don't know if you stockpile your content or whatever it is, but you got to be careful with stuff like that, especially you guys too. Like we all do. If I hurt myself and I can't do videos, it's not like I'm gonna lose my life, whatever. But like, it's my job. It's not like, you hurt your back, like anybody. You got to go to work the next day and you hurt your back in the gym. Can you imagine? I can't go to my day at the office because I went for a PR in the gym, and your boss is like, who? Because he probably doesn't work out, or maybe if he does, he's like, what, bro, sis? Why are you doing PRs? For what? I'm just trying to have a nice beach body, and you got to work today. What are you talking about? Right? Just saying. All right, we got some flies. Cool.
This will definitely be the max. The max. Do like 3
All
sets.
right, let's watch this. I saw a couple things she's already doing. Like, again, when we're doing this, guys, like, all right, so the way she's doing, she went from lightweight to this weight. Now you can see the posture, and this happens all the time when I watch people do flies or when they're doing cable flies, pec flies. You want to kind of be a little bit of an interior rotation. A little easy trick you can do. Go like this, right? You can cross your fingers if you want to, and then do it. The shoulders back and away from your ears, and there you go. Now internally rotate slightly, and then unrelease your hands, and if you do have them, release them regardless, and then open up. So everything's in line. So you're not kind of like this and this happens, right? We have this weird thing where we have like our elbows pointing down, and then we get this bunch over kind of thing, and that's what's happening right now because the way she's using might be should be a little less. Like very much, because she has to muscle it, right? And the goal to this is to get your arm basically flush with the side of your body. You want like a 90-degree. Your goal for the fly is for your arm to go from here all the way to here. This is full range of motion, right? That's full range. You guys can see this now. If I do this, there's a lot of like gain left on the table when we get to here and not to here. You see how much difference that is from doing a fly? Like if I finish here, like, and that's where she's at. Like, so like the tempo's great. The tempo is absolutely amazing, but see the muscling, like that is not necessary. Like, especially when it comes to like accessory work. Like if you already did like a really good set of like, bench, I'll give her 95% on her bench performance. Then you got to do accessory work. For me, like accessory work is like where I don't necessarily lighten the load more, but I'm like getting a weight that I'm really, really just trying to overemphasize my technique even more, right? The tempo she's doing is great, but again, we're losing gains. Look how much room I have. Watch how much from here to here. When we look at in terms of like range of motion, too many of us think that a lot of our moves are dictated way too much by here. So the goal for most people is for flies is just getting the arm up this way. For curls, it's like making sure we pull the arm up or whatever it is. We're not thinking about this bone when it comes to chest, shoulders, back. It's this muscle or this bone being pulled down, pulled in, pulled up. But that's what we want. Full range of motion is when it comes to here, not when the hands touch. Because this isn't a finished rep. Your hands have touched. You now cannot go anywhere else, but I can still go somewhere else from here.
The way that I do it just a little bit, so I lighten the weight up lighter than I would usually do it so that I can really focus on at the top, protracting. That's the part where I need it to be a little lighter so I can feel what I'm doing, and then retracting, which I always have been fine with the retracting part, but like I'm trying this new protraction, hoping to just be able to feel it more because I feel like I never feel anything in my lats, and that has got to mean I'm just not doing it right. The muscle in the mind, the muscle in the mind disconnected. So I
was saying we give you guys a good tip here on how to feel your lats, right? Same idea when it comes to that whole interior rotation type thing. If you're by a table or anything, even here if you're on a chair, I want you to basically put your hands on like this on the chair, chest up, and I want you to just push from this part of your hand on the chair. Push down first. Now put pressure down and then start putting pressure down the outsides of your hands, right? Don't let this bend and do a bunch of this. Keep this as the same. Like if I do this, then my elbows do this. Doing this on your table or your chair and push down, you'll feel this part starting to move. Do this while raising your hand. Like your hand's gonna be above your head like this. And while my hand's up like this, I'm gonna do this. Just do it and watch once you start feeling this, your lat on, you're like, holy, that's pretty tight. It is. And you feel your lat at the top of the lift, right? So being in a supinated position helps out a lot just by being in body positioning, but you can almost do the same thing by taking the bar and trying to bend it, right? You're trying to create the act of supination, but you can't go in there because you're holding a bar, and you'll feel your lats a little more. Just try that.
Retract.
So the problem with, and you can tell she doesn't really feel this at all, right? So you want to make sure when you're doing pull downs to keep your shoulder blades basically depressed. They're just doing this. And when you're doing rows, high rows, cable high rows, then they're going to be doing that protraction and retraction when you're coming all the way down. So she's doing pull-ups really wide. I'll get myself a little more narrower. I would say just a little outside shoulder width apart, like right here. Right? And then the two is like when she's pulling back, we're getting a lot of, we're getting a great retraction at the top, but that mid trap is getting more of it. We want to keep that whole entire lat down because the traps are getting pinched, but they're kind of pinching and they're pinching up. We're getting here and not here.
Okay, next we are going to do some tricep, like 3 sets of 15.
Good tempo. Good tempo on the way up. Triceps. Right, again, I'm always gonna, right here, guys, we want to be there, but even more. Like, drive those elbows down so they're not depressed, they're not coming all the way up this way. And it's fine for your elbows to come up a bit, it's totally fine. It's just when the shoulders are coming up, that's when we don't want. We want the shoulders to stay depressed the entire time, and we're getting a little bit of that. But we want to come up, and then when we finish the same way. I always get on my clients about this. You finish your set, yes. Put it down the way you put it up, right? If we're down here, boom, and we're doing these for the reps and this 1,001, whatever, and we're pushing down, we're doing the same thing at the last rep. The last rep, boom, then it's like, then we're putting it back away. Because you're losing reps on the table. You're leaving some gains on the table, especially coming back up to that stretch point. You want to keep that. That's what you want.
And the final exercise that we will be documenting today, because my camera's about to run out of storage, lateral raises. This is how I like to do it. I like to do a heavier weight, maybe like 10 to 15, depending what I can get, and then drop set immediately after that, like half the weight, same amount of reps if possible, just like to failure. Usually I fail around the same reps though. So let's go.
Not bad. Okay, here we go. So right now the weight she's using is again, we want to get too much emphasis on the hands doing the pulling. I always make the emphasis of the shoulder is pulling the elbow. The arm, the forearm and the hand is attached to the elbow. It's an extension of the elbow. Don't make this the main focus of lifting because we have this. And we want to have more range of motion. So we want to have a little bit higher. Now again, she's on vacation and she's, just based, I don't know what their schedule's like. Now if you're traveling somewhere and you want to make sure you can still hit the gym and stick to your plan, do some research. See you're going what gym you're at and then stick to your plan. Have a plan when you're there. Because most of the time when you're at the gym and you don't have a plan, you heard the saying, failure to prepare is preparing to fail, right? If you don't have a plan in the gym, most of the time you're not going to probably talk in between. You're not really going to work as hard than having an actual strategy when you go to the gym. So have a plan when you go to the gym. Make sure you stick to the full range of motion. Pick weights that you know that you can handle, and then challenge yourself to work as hard as you possibly can. And just, that's it, man. But other than that, I'll give this an 8 and an 8.5. The rest of the workout kind of went down a little bit. Form on a couple things where on their laterals could use some work, and especially her full range of motion on her flies. And she's still trying to learn how to connect with her back, and that's a lot of you guys too. So if you guys want to see me collab with Lean Beef Patty, let me know in the comment section below. Till next time, guys, you know how it is. Iron sharpens iron, progressive overload your life. In the meantime, keep dream chasing. Peace.